This is the Culture Channel.
Hey traveler, I know what's on your mind. I'm Nicholas Roberts, and I'm your guide today or tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and say welcome back or welcome back in advance to the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. I say this because you're probably watching this video because you have made the decision about moving back to Guyana or are contemplating moving back to Guyana. Well, this video is about all you need to know about re-migrating to Guyana. Disclosure: all of the information in this video comes from the re-migration brochure available online at Guyana embassies around the world and also in the description of this video. Well, the first thing you need to know is that the re-migration scheme of the government of Guyana is administered by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in conjunction with the Guyana Revenue Authority. Just to say a bit more, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation is responsible for determining and granting re-migration status, while the Guyana Revenue Authority administers the tax exemptions. But who is eligible to receive the re-migrant status? Who is a qualifying re-migrant? According to the government of Guyana, the answer bifurcates and gives way to A and B. In A, we learn that a Guyanese citizen who is 18 years and above, who has been residing legally overseas for a minimum of 5 consecutive years, and is now returning to reside in Guyana, is eligible. In B, we learn that a Guyanese graduate who has completed his or her studies at an institution abroad and resided overseas for a minimum of 3 years and is now returning to Guyana to reside is also eligible. After determining your eligibility as a qualifying candidate for re-migration status, you would want to know where applications for re-migration status should be submitted. Well, applications must be submitted in person to the Diaspora Affairs Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Address: Tacuba Lodge, 254 South Road and Shiv Chandrapal Drive, Georgetown. The phone number and email address are available below. Thereafter, applications must be submitted within the first 6 months of assuming residence in Guyana. Important to note is that accompanying your application will be a current passport, which must be at least 5 years old. If the passport is less than 5 years old, then a previous passport must be submitted. In the case of students who are returning, evidence from the university, college, or educational institution confirming completion and duration of the course of study or time spent at the institution must be provided. Documentary evidence of how the potential remigrant intends to earn a livelihood in Guyana to re-establish permanent stay must also be presented as statutory declaration, which must be sworn by a Justice of Peace or Commissioner of Oaths to affidavits in Guyana, and which must include the following: A, that the items for which exemptions are sought are for personal and domestic use and not for sale or exchange. B, whether the re-migrant has previously or never enjoyed tax exemptions. C, the model, year, and the engine capacity of the vehicle for which exemptions are being sought. D, that the re-migrant shall reside in Guyana for 3 years cumulatively in the case of a used vehicle or 5 years cumulatively in the case of a new vehicle, failing which exemptions granted become immediately payable in accordance with the provisions of the Customs Act. E, a list of items for which exemptions are sought must be attached to the statutory declaration. And finally, we have our last two. Two passport-sized pictures for 5, and number 6, registration, certificate of title, or another form of proof of ownership of the vehicle. Now let's talk about exemptions. The Guyana Revenue Authority is the entity mandated to determine the exemptions to be given. Exemption from duty and value-added tax usually are given to the following: A, a reasonable quantity of personal effects; B, a reasonable quantity of household effects including domestic and electrical appliances; C, a limited amount of tools of trade; D, 1 motor vehicle, 1 motorcycle, and 1 leisure boat that is or are owned by the remigrant. Documentary evidence must be provided as noted below. The applicant must present the registration certificate of title or other form of proof of ownership of vehicle from the country where the migrant resided to confirm that the vehicle was owned by the applicant. And now the approval letter from the minister. The approval letter is valid for 6 months, and applications submitted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation will be processed within 21 working days, provided that all the necessary information is submitted. Remember that all documents that are not in English should be translated by a certified translator. This is the Culture Channel. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more of our videos.